What if the biggest financial mistake of your life isn't spending too much money? What if it's dying with too much of it left over? What if every dollar sitting in your bank account on the day you die is actually a memory you never made, a trip you never took, a moment with someone you love that you chose to skip? Welcome to Book Pulse Daily. Today, we're breaking down one of the most provocative, thought-provoking personal finance books in years, Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. And I promise you, by the end of this video, the way you think about money and time will never quite be the same. Let's go. What is this book actually about? Now, before you close this tab thinking this is some reckless, spend everything you have advice, hear me out. Almost every personal finance book ever written tells you the same thing. Save more, invest wisely, and build a nest egg so large that you die rich. The bigger the number in your account when you take your last breath, the more successful you were with money. Bill Perkins says that's completely backwards. He argues that your real goal should be to die with zero. Not because you were irresponsible, but because you were intentional. Because you used your money to actually live while you were still young enough, healthy enough, and energetic enough to enjoy it. Think about it this way. What's the point of working 40 years, sacrificing experiences, skipping vacations, delaying joy, only to leave a pile of money behind that you never got to enjoy? Who exactly did all that saving serve? Bill Perkins isn't telling you to be reckless. He's telling you to be deliberate, to treat your money the way it was always meant to be treated, as a tool for building a life you're proud of, not a trophy you leave behind. The big idea: time buckets. Here's one of the most practical and, honestly, one of the most eye-opening frameworks in the entire book, and it's called time buckets. Here's how it works. Instead of thinking about your life as one long financial runway, Bill Perkins asks you to divide your life into 5-year chunks. Each chunk is a bucket, and for each bucket, you ask yourself one question. What experiences do I most want to have during this season of my life? So, for example, ages 30 to 35. You want to backpack through Southeast Asia and learn a new language. Ages 35 to 40. You want to coach your kids' soccer team, take them to Disney World, surf on weekends. Ages 45 to 50. You want to do a month-long safari across East Africa or hike the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. Ages 60 to 65. Maybe something slower. A long road trip across America, visiting every national park. Now here's the part that really hits home. Some of those experiences have an expiration date. You can't run a 10K at 75 the same way you can at 35. You can't take your young kids on adventures if your kids are already grown. You can't ski the Alps with your college friends if half of them have bad knees. And you definitely cannot spend a month trekking across Africa if you're dealing with serious health issues. The best time to have an experience isn't when you finally have enough money. It's when you're at the right age, in the right health, with the right people. And that window is smaller than we like to admit. So the time bucket exercise forces you to think, when is the ideal moment in my life for this experience? And more importantly, are you actually planning for it, or just vaguely hoping it happens someday? 3:30 to 5:30. Lesson 1. Die with zero, not die with millions. Let me ask you something honestly. When you imagine your retirement, what does it look like? A comfortable house? Enough money to not worry? Maybe leaving something behind for your kids? Now here's what Bill Perkins found when he looked at the data. Most people who reach retirement age, even those who worked hard, saved diligently, invested carefully, actually underspend. They have more money than they'll ever realistically use. And instead of enjoying it, they sit on it. They feel guilty spending it. They keep waiting for the right moment that never comes. He calls dying with a mountain of unspent money the ultimate waste. Not of money, but of life. Because every dollar you die with represents something you could have done. A week on a beach in Greece with your partner, a cooking class in Italy, a gap year you always dreamed of, a business you wanted to start, a cause you wanted to support while you were still alive to see its impact. Now, Perkins is very clear. This is not about spending irresponsibly or ignoring your financial security. You absolutely need a safety net. You need to cover healthcare, housing, emergencies. He's not telling you to blow your 401k on a yacht, but he is saying, optimize for a life fully lived, not a bank account fully stocked. The goal is a zero on your last day, after a life of rich experiences, deep relationships, and memories that made the whole thing worth it. 5:30 to 7:30. Lesson 2. The 3 regrets you don't want to have. There's a famous study where researchers asked people in the final stages of life, the hospice patients, the elderly in their last months, what they most regretted. And almost none of them said, "I wish I had a bigger savings account." Nobody on their deathbed has ever said, "I really wish I'd worked more weekends." Bill Perkins identifies 3 regrets that come up again and again, and I want you to really sit with these. Regret number 1, I didn't spend enough time with the people I love. The kids grew up, the parents got old, the friendships faded, and the time that could have been spent was spent working, grinding, saving for a future that somehow never quite arrived. Regret number 2, I didn't travel when I was healthy. There it is. Not, I wish I'd invested more aggressively, but I wish I'd actually gone to the places I always talked about, when my body could still handle it, when I actually had the energy to explore. Regret number 3, I was so focused on the future that I forgot to live in the present. I kept delaying joy. I kept saying next year, after the promotion, when the kids are grown, when I retire, and then one day I looked up and the best years were already behind me. Die with Zero is essentially a practical manual for avoiding these 3 regrets. It's a system for making sure that when you get to the end, you can look back and say, I actually lived that. 7:30 to 9. Lesson 3. How to actually do it. Okay, so how do you put this into practice? Because Perkins doesn't just leave you with philosophy, he gives you real tools. First, calculate your net worth peak, the approximate age at which your wealth will be at its highest point. For most people, that's somewhere between 55 and 70. Once you identify that, you start planning to spend more intentionally after that peak, instead of hoarding indefinitely. Second, create experience funds. Literally, open a separate savings account and call it exactly that, experience fund. That money is not for emergencies. It's not for a rainy day. It is earmarked for living, your safari, your anniversary trip, your sabbatical. It makes the intention real. Third, give money to your children while you're still alive. This one is powerful. Most parents plan to leave a big inheritance after they die, but Perkins asks, why wait? If you give your kids or the causes you care about money now, you actually get to see the impact. You're there for the joy, the gratitude, the transformation. That experience is worth infinitely more than a check they receive at your funeral.
And finally, go back to your time buckets. Review them once a year. Ask yourself, am I actually moving toward these experiences, or am I just letting time slide by? Because the clock doesn't pause while you plan.
Here's the message at the heart of Die with Zero, and it's beautifully simple. Don't save your best life for retirement. Start living it now. Your money is a resource. Your time is finite. And the intersection of having money, good health, and the people you love, that's a window that doesn't stay open forever. Bill Perkins isn't asking you to be reckless. He's asking you to be awake. To look at your life with clear eyes and ask, am I actually using the time I have? Or am I just planning to someday? If this summary made you think even a little differently about how you spend your time and your money, hit that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this channel. Subscribe to Book Pulse Daily. We break down the world's most powerful books every single week right here. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me, what's one experience you want to have before it's too late? Write it down. Make it real. The full book link is in the description. I really do recommend picking it up. Until next time, don't just save your money. Spend it on a life worth remembering. See you in the next Pulse of Wisdom.